Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the Morning. How are you this morning, Ken?
Alive. Oh, I got one of those nice stomach bugs that's been going freaking around here.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. My morning's been fun.
I guess it is that time of year.
Mm-hmm. So what happens when you go and visit your buddy with his fucking kids?
Oh, kids just get sick.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. But more news with the Bill Belichick shit. Did you see the NFL?
More Belichick stuff, please.
Yeah. Did you see the NFL released a statement on it?
What now?
The NFL had, they had come out, and granted, this is me paraphrasing because I don't remember it exactly word for word, but pretty much that this decision was so egregious that they are going to be reviewing the Hall of Fame committee, and people will be getting let go from their positions over this.
Yeah, as they should. I mean, as they should, because it's a fucking joke, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you don't like Belichick,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not, the Hall of Fame is not a popularity contest. It shouldn't be. And Bill Belichick is there's not even an argument. The dude has 6 Super Bowl victories as a head coach for just one team. Don't mind the other rings he got with other teams and other roles on those teams. So I mean, this is like as much of a no-brainer as there has ever been a no-brainer. And we're not going to let you in this year as a statement. What the hell?
Oh no! What a lot of people believe it is that it's Bill Polian, because he's all butthurt from how Belichick kicked his ass up and down for 10 different years, and partially Tony Dungy too, as I've been hearing get some of the flack for it.
I'm sorry, man. It's like, I'm sorry. If Tony Dungy's a Hall of Famer, then Belichick is a Hall of Famer times 5.
Yep.
And I love Tony Dungy for a lot of reasons, right?
Yep, me too.
But I'm sorry, Bill Belichick is a much better coach than Dungy ever was.
Mm-hmm.
Dungy was a great coach too. I mean, that should tell you something. Dungy was a good coach. I don't even know if he's a Hall of Fame really coach, to be honest with you. But he's in the Hall of Fame as a coach. I mean, the guy won a Super Bowl.
I was gonna say he did help revolutionize defenses a bit, so I can see why
Is Buddy Ryan in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
I think so, but
yeah, I was gonna say
I get what Ken's saying. I get what Ken, the Bear fan, is saying here, though. Like he had a Tampa team that he couldn't get over the hump. They fire him. He moves on to Indianapolis. Gruden comes in and wins the Super Bowl the very next year. Then he lands Peyton Manning, right? Like he goes to Indianapolis and he has Peyton Manning and he wins a Super Bowl. And so I'm not shitting on Tony Dungy. I'm just saying, like,
my face has nothing to do with anything you're saying. Buddy Ryan is not in the Hall of Fame somehow.
He's not. I'm looking at his stuff right now. So Buddy Ryan,
that makes no sense.
The architect of the 46D that destroyed the NFL, probably the best defensive year ever, that 85 Bears, right? Not in the Hall of Fame. And actually, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ, right? Tony Dungy is in the Hall of Fame because he won 1 Super Bowl. And you
Well,
go back to
and
what Joe just said. He couldn't get over the hump with Tampa. Then they fire him, trade for Gruden, and all of a sudden, boom, they win a Super Bowl. And he wins a Super Bowl that really, if you think about it, they win it because of a blown coverage in the fourth quarter by Lovie Smith's defense, right? I mean, it's not like they were dominant. It's not like he was ever Indianapolis was not dominant underneath him. They were not a juggernaut underneath him. They were a good football team. Tony Dungy got in the Hall of Fame. He's likable.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
he's also the architect of the Tampa too.
I'm willing to say that they were dominant in his time in Indianapolis. He had a dominant team. The problem was he ran up against Bill Belichick, which further cements that Bill Belichick argument. The thing that kept Tony Dungy and those Colts teams from being multiple time Super Bowl champions was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Yep.
Hence, even more of an argument for why Bill should be in the Hall of Fame this year. Like, it's just the whole thing is just sour grapes, man. It's just a bunch of whiny bitches who don't like the fact that Bill was as good as he was. It's like,
so look at, because Ted gave me that look when I said he's not really the architect of Tampa too. This is now granted. I know I'd seen this before because I watched the Buccaneers, that 50th anniversary miniseries they did on Prime, and they talked about there. But I recall, so I looked it back up because I recalled it from that show. But he wasn't the architect. But look, despite being identified with Dungy and the Buccaneers, the roots of the Tampa 2 actually come from the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Steel Curtains of the defense of the 1970s. Dungy openly admitted that it was based on concepts he picked up in Pittsburgh, where he played in safety from 77 to 78.
Yeah, I just saw this. That I didn't realize that it was inspired by the Steelers.
Right.
It wasn't fully the Steelers. Granted, he did modify it, but having the building block there is something.
But I'm sorry, Rex Ryan's 46D literally crushed the NFL. Dude's a 2-time Super Bowl champ, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, but Tony Dungy is. Okay.
What was Buddy Ryan's other Super Bowl?
According to his Wikipedia, he has 2 Super Bowls. 85, and where do you get the other one at? Hold on. Because it says 2-time Super Bowl champion as assistant coach. Super Bowl 3. You got a ring for that game.
He was on Kansas City's staff?
Yep.
Didn't know that.
He was... Or no, that's the Jets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was the defensive line coach with the Jets.
Broadway Joe.
Yeah. By the way, dude's also his sons, Rob and Rex Ryan, coached in the NFL. He's known as one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL history. Yet he's not in the Hall of Fame.
That makes no sense to me.
He also served in the Army during the Korean War. Interesting. Yeah. So, I look at this whole Belichick thing is a black eye. It's a sham. And even if you hate Belichick, you have to admit the guy is a Hall of Fame coach.
Absolutely.
And their whole justification, well, we need to make a statement. Make a statement of what? That you're idiots? That you're stupid? That you're petty, jealous little people? I mean, I'm sorry. He beat you consistently.
If you thought his cheating helped him win a Super Bowl that much, you should have taken those Super Bowls away from him after the fact. Struck him from his record.
Hey, Ken, call back the National Guard.
Okay. Hold on.
And Jeremy, no, I wouldn't mind having Jim Schwartz as our DC, but I don't know if he only wants a head coaching job. I know that he left Cleveland because he didn't get promoted, but I wouldn't be against having him as a defensive coordinator. I think he's a really good defensive coordinator, but I don't want him for a head coach because we have Mendoza coming up, and we need a quarterback that can develop Mendoza. That's the most important thing for us right now, is making sure we hit on that quarterback.
Yeah, I'm wondering just how many changes are going to be made to the Hall of Fame committee after this, though. And let's face it, I think this is just the icing in the cake, right? I mean, because people have been complaining about the way the Hall of Fame's done stuff for a couple of years now.
Though another piece of news came out with the Hall of Fame also. Eli will not be making the cut this year.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't it funny how certain things like that have leaked?
Mm-hmm.
You know what also is funny? There was a reporter yesterday after all the Bill Belichick backlash. A reporter wrote an article. He was actually one of the voters, and he said, "I didn't vote for Bill Belichick. Here's why." And the excuse that he gave was that the senior candidates, L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, like, they're coming up on that time where basically if they don't get in now, they never will. Whereas Bill Belichick is for sure going to get in at some point. So he just figured that he would use his vote to try to get those three guys in, because if not, they'll never get in. And
how about do that with somebody that's on the bubble of are they a Hall of Fame? Are they not?
Here's the
Somebody
thing,
that's
too.
questionable.
That'll be the
Not with
argument.
Belichick, who is the reigning endorsement for the Hall of Fame.
Well, look at this would be the argument every year. Well, I didn't do it this year because there was these other guys who, if they don't get in now, and next thing you know, Belichick never gets in. I mean, come on, that's bullshit. The guy deserves to be in. I don't care if you think this guy who's on the cusp of never being allowed to get in. That's bullshit too, because there's no look. Even there's still other options for guys to get in after. I mean, I don't understand what this guy is saying. He's so full of shit. Because okay, they got the other committee, and but you can't even be eligible for that until like 20 years after your playing career. There's no rule that says you can never come in after that. Like, you're always available to get in at some point if enough people gin up the response for you. So that's bullshit too.
No.
Bill
Okay, Ken, let me clarify. So he wasn't saying that they can't ever get in. What he was saying is that their names eventually drop out after a few years of getting suggested and not getting voted in, that their names eventually drop out, and then they're just not brought up anymore. So they don't.
Maybe they should be in the Hall of Fame.
And see, that was the pushback that people were giving, is like, well, then maybe they're only just borderline Hall of Famers. Like, if they were that good, then their name would keep coming up. Like, and I agree with that. But this dude came out and basically gave his take, and people were like, "You should not be voting for the Hall of Fame." They roasted him in the comments, dude.
Yeah, that guy's a freaking
like one of them had quotation marks like they're quoting the title of the article, and it was like, "I'm an idiot. Here's why." It was like,
yeah, the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't even in a weird way, this taints this entire Hall of Fame class, which is sad. It really does. Whoever the players that get in, this will be tainted because of this Belichick thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so like, Drew Brees is going to get in, but his year will be tainted because of this. And I don't think the voters get that. Like, this will put a black cloud on this class, because this will be the class that these good players got in, but Belichick got snubbed out of pettiness.
I was going to say, it'll be for each and every one of them. Should they have gotten in since Belichick was left out? Is that the only reason they got in?
Yeah. I mean, and Fred's right. It's supposed to be unbiased, but we know from all their Hall of Fame votes in other leagues too, it's never unbiased. And like, look, if it was unbiased, Barry Bonds would be in the Hall of Fame for baseball. And because I'm like, look, this dude had a Hall before the Balco thing and the time with the Giants when all the Balco thing started. His career before that with Pittsburgh, 8-time Gold Glover, he was a Hall of Famer before any of that. They could lop off all the home run piece of his career, and he'd still get in the Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling, before Balco was still a Hall of Famer. he would get in the Hall of Fame. Now look at when you talk about McGuire and Sosa, okay, that could be a little more debatable. But like those other two guys were Hall of Famers before any of that the PED steroid stuff that happened back in the day. They would definitely be Hall of Famers. Canseco should be in the Hall of Fame just because he had the balls to come out and admit everything that was done. I mean, if it wasn't for Canseco, he blew the lid on everything in baseball, right? He should be in the Hall of Fame just for that. But besides all that, look at his numbers are still out there. His stats still exist. It's not like they erased his stats. I mean, if it's supposed to be unbiased based off what they did on the field, in baseball, I know this is a tricky one. The purists get involved in all that, but look at during that time period when everyone was doing something, I don't care that Canseco juiced, man. Everyone was juicing. I mean, even Bo Jackson was juicing. That's how your hip gets broke like it did, right? I mean, everyone knew it. The Boz was juicing. Everyone was juicing. Tony Mandrich was juicing. They were all juiced. We know
this. Mandrich.
the great Bulk. I mean, but here you've got Belichick, who's got 6 wins as a head coach in one city, and and his teams have produced how many Hall of Famers?
A shit ton.
And he's not going in the Hall of Fame. And yet Tony Dungy, with 1 Super Bowl and a defense he stole from Pittsburgh,
I don't know if I'd fully call it stealing.
And Rex Ryan, or not Rex Ryan, but Buddy Ryan, isn't.
Yeah,
one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL history is not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and look at because Buddy Ryan, he rubbed people the wrong way a little bit. He was kind of gruff, but man, the dude was a good coach. Like him and Ditka, man, that '85 team. And like Ditka's in the Hall of Fame not because of his coaching ability. He's in the Hall of Fame because of what he did as a player, right? But you could argue as a coach, he should be in the Hall of Fame as a coach, and he should be in the Hall of Fame more as a coach than Tony Dungy should be in a way. If you want to go there, right? I mean, this whole thing with Belichick is a freaking joke, and it just takes his entire class and makes you go, really? And then, let's see who gets in. If Vinatieri doesn't get in, that's another one that's like, really? Like, why? Oh, because he's a kicker? Dude, he's like, was he like the NFL all-time NFL scoring leader, right? The most clutch field goal kicker in history. I mean,
Fred, Joe and I have vaguely had this debate multiple times on the MMA show. I personally am in the camp of I'm not against these guys using steroids if everybody in the league is on it, or at least has the option to be on it.
But like what Fred's saying, though, like, look, if not for Sosa and McGuire, MLB was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Sosa and McGuire reinvigorated a dying professional league, and now they're ostracized for it.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick, say what you will, but like he revived that franchise, and actually because they were what they were, they did a lot for the NFL. The NFL isn't making the money it's making today if not for the Bill Belichick Patriots. And he's being ostracized for it by the voting committee for the Hall of Fame. Really?
And Fred, I'm right there with you too, man.
I mean,
but I draw a line of distinction though in combat sports. Like baseball is one, everybody's on it, but for me, combat sports is different. So that's why I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to combat sports.
See, if both guys are on it, I don't have the issue.
So like Nolan Ryan's a Hall of Famer, but yet he was always been accused of juicing baseballs, scuffing them, doing stuff like that, right? I mean, you have a lot of players in the Hall of Fame in baseball who've been accused of cheating via juicing a baseball or otherwise, right? I mean, that's just a part of baseball. But when you come to the Football Hall of Fame, like, dude, there's always been, like, Devin Hester didn't get in first ballot. Why? Well, because he's a special teamer. He's a kick returner. We don't know how to do it. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to do it. Was that guy the best ever at that position in that job? Yes, by a country mile. The fact that he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Fame should have been one of the earlier warning signs, right? I mean, if you look at the Hall of Fame voting over the last couple of years, there's already been questions. I think this just solidifies that the Hall of Fame voting in the NFL is broken and a joke.
Yeah, but it's been broken. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that Jim
What's
Plunkett
the
still is,
explanation for it?
and I'm going to keep coming back to Plunkett because to me, Plunkett is one of the most glaring cases, and not just because he's a Raider. What other quarterback do you know has 2 Super Bowls and is not in the Hall of Fame? They're letting guys in with 1 ring now. Jim Plunkett has 2, and he has a Super Bowl MVP, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Here's Jim Plunkett's 2-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, AFC Rookie of the Year. That's it for the NFL. I mean, his college is ridiculous. Of course, you can't count on any of that. He is a 52.5% completion percentage. Oh, here's what kills him: his TD interception ratio is bad, 164 to 198. Just under 26,000 passing yards with a passing rate of 67.5. 1,300 rush, just over 1,300 rushing yards with 14 touchdowns. He is in the College Football Hall of Fame.
But Terry Bradshaw also has more interceptions than touchdowns, and he's in the Hall.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Let me ask Grok, how many NFL QBs that have won 2 Super Bowls not in the Hall of Fame? Now, of course, this is also making the case why Eli should get in, but that's okay. Jim Plunkett and Eli Manning are the only 2 guys with multiple rings that have been with at least 2 Super Bowls, with exactly 2 rings. Bob Greasy's in, John Elway's in, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger is eligible soon. No other quarterbacks with exactly 2 wins fit. So these are the only ones. They're the only 2. So all right.
And if Roethlisberger gets in first ballot, I'm gonna shit.
It'll happen. I'm telling you, Joe.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Wait, Joe, does that mean we can go to Canton, Ohio and protest?
Yeah, that's not really my style. I'm not furry enough. But I will say this. If they let Ben Roethlisberger in on the first ballot, but Jim Plunkett is still not in the Hall of Fame, it just tells you one thing. In the NFL, you can rape, but don't you dare throw more picks than touchdowns.
Here's a statistical comparison of Eli and Jim Plunkett. Now, look, Eli played in 236 games with 234 starts. Plunkett was much shorter, 157 and 144. Completion percentage, Eli is a 60.3% completion percentage in his career. Plunkett 52.5. Passing yards, Eli doubles them. But once again, he's about doubled his games almost too. He's at over 100, about 100 more games, 75 more games. Passing touchdowns, Eli 366, Plunkett 244. Eli is 366 and 244 TD to interception. Plunkett's 164, 198. More interceptions than touchdowns. Yards per attempt, both are exactly tied at 7. Passer rating, Eli is 84.1, Plunkett 67.5. Sacks, Eli had 411, Plunkett had 380. He had there was a higher sack rate in Plunkett's era though than Eli. Interesting. Super playoff wise, Eli was 8-4 in the playoffs. Eli is 8-4 in the playoffs, 2-0 in Super Bowl MVP in both. Plunkett 4-0 in the playoffs. I mean, there you go. Now the Hall of Fame debate, of course, is what we're talking about a little bit, but those are the only 2 that have 2 rings and aren't in.
And we also have to throw a little bit more nuance in there. Plunkett played in the time when it was still a running league, number one.
Right.
So you'd be better off comparing his numbers to a guy like Terry Bradshaw, Kenny Stabler, that generation. And Plunkett played the first half of his career in San Francisco and New England, and he was a washout. It wasn't until he got to the Raiders that he actually revived his career. So,
I agree with you, but you know what these guys do? They're going to do exactly what I do. They're going to Grok and they're going to say, "Give me a comparison," and that's how they're going to justify it. I mean, you're right, Joe, 100%. But let's face it, they're going to compare them apples to apples when it's not. It's more of apples to oranges, right? And you're right, it is an apples to oranges argument with these guys, but they're going to go apples to apples because the quarterback's a quarterback, and you're right, but you are right, 100%. But look, I think Plunkett is also, you could say, part of the reason why Eli doesn't get in. Because well, if Plunkett's not in, why is Eli should be until Plunkett gets in? Because that'd be further shame. I think that could be also part of why Eli is not getting in. Besides the fact that Eli wasn't that great of a quarterback overall, right? But I mean, part of the argument is like, well, look at here's Plunkett. So you can't just say, oh, because he has 2 Super Bowl. Well, Plunkett has 2 and he's not in, and that's part of the reason why I think Eli's not in. But I mean, the going back, like the fact that Bill Belichick is not going to the Hall of Fame is just mind blowing, And look at, and I said this the other day. There are a lot of offensive linemen who should be in the Hall that are not. There are a lot of other great players that were honestly great players that aren't in because they weren't flashy enough. They weren't media darlings. They didn't get advertising campaign. I mean, come on. Like you're going to tell me that some of these guys, like Peanut Tillman, is not in. The Peanut Punch is still in the game today. Over a decade later, it's still a thing and a very significant thing. How's Peanut Tillman wasn't even considered this year for the Hall of Fame? Right? I mean,
yeah. And we went through his numbers, and his turnover numbers are Hall of Fame worthy for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the NFL voting system is flawed, very flawed, and I don't know. It's just like they play a lot of fan favorites. Like I know they're like, look at the year in 2018 when Ray Lewis and Urlacher got in. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who said Urlacher shouldn't get in because of Ray Lewis. Now, rightfully so, that year both guys went in because those guys both defined a generation of linebackers. And of course, the knock on Urlacher was no ring, But you look at the rest of the things he did, it's like, okay, yeah, he was undeniable, right? NFL Defensive Player of the Year, All-Decade Team, first teams, Pro Bowls, all that good stuff. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dude had an undeniable career. But I'll tell you what, like in today's NFL voting, I don't know if he gets in anymore. I mean, and I think today's, and he got in 18. But the way it's gone the last couple of years, I don't know if Urlacher gets in with the way they're doing some of this stuff. He should be, and it should be a no-brainer. There are other guys who should be no-brainers, but they're not in. I don't know about that per se, but I definitely think though they need to expand it out though a little bit or make it expandable up to. Like, okay, right now they put 5 of the current players in, right? That's like the cap. I think it could be they should make it up to 10 if you meet a certain threshold. Like, isn't baseball, you have to meet a certain threshold to get in? That's why some years they have 0. We just had a 0 not long ago, right? Which that was mind-boggling too. But no, I think they should be able to put more in because there are some linemen. Like we were talking yesterday, Jason Kelce can get in just based off his name. Now, look, he's earned it as a player. Mm-hmm. But there are other offensive linemen who have been just as good. We just don't hear their names all the time.
I can give you, off the top of my head, at least 3 just Raiders players that are undoubtedly Hall of Famers that are not in the Hall of Fame right now. Jim Plunkett, Steve Wisniewski, Shane Lechler. All 3 of those guys be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Shane Lechler was the best punter in the game for over a decade.
Oh, but Joey's a special teamer. We don't put those in the Hall of Fame.
Well, not only that, he's a punter. You had to have you had to have Pat McAfee go on a national campaign saying punters are people too.
Well, look at
but Ray Guy is in the Hall of Fame, and Ray Guy was a punter.
Look, you can't have both.
Hey, Guy, one.
Hey, you can't have 2 punters in the Hall. Only if Lechler got in, there'd only be 2 punters in the Hall of Fame, and both would be Raiders. I'm just saying.
So what does that say? It just says, hey, the Raiders draft good punters.
the Raiders suck offensively and need punters.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, Ken, that the Raiders suck so much their punters got a whole lot of
Well, I
experience.
guess that's one way to look at it.
But no, I mean, look at special teamers, offensive linemen, definitely. Yeah, Ray Guy's the only punter in the Hall of Fame. There are some other guys that deserve to be in, but you know what? The other part of that is, though, once you open that up, there are going to be a lot more Bears and a lot more Packers that go in the Hall, and they don't like that because the Bears and the Packers dominate the Hall of Fame. But then again, when you're two of the oldest teams in the league, you should be dominating the Hall of Fame.
You want to know what's funny? The absolute oldest team in the league isn't up there fighting with us for who has the most Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
Shit.
the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep. That's freaking one that surprises me that they don't have a shit ton
But
of
that's
Hall of
because
Famers.
when they left Chicago and went to St. Louis, I mean, they were really a shitty football team for so many years. And they did produce some Hall of Famers. A guy my dad played high school football with is in the Hall of Fame. Hart, he's in the Hall of Fame. But they just didn't produce players like they did in Chicago and Green Bay, those years with the Bears and the Packers. But you're right. But the Cardinals are the oldest team in the NFL. Remember, the Bears were the Staley Bears before they were they were in Chicago. They came there after the Cardinals left. And even and Fred, I'd argue that even within their own team, they don't know. Like, you ask most fans to tell me a good offensive lineman from their team from 10 years ago, and you're going to get a lot of deer in headlights.
Yeah.
You really are.
Not me.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm with Joe on this one. I quite enjoy watching these fat guys toss dudes out the club.
I mean, and they may know a center or maybe a tackle, but like, I couldn't tell you the 06 offensive line outside of Roberto Garza. I don't remember the rest of the guys' names off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the interior for Green Bay's line.
Yeah.
Then I remember the tackles of being Tauscher and Clifton, but I can't remember the freaking guards.
So
I can tell you that the Raiders' 2002 starting offensive line for the Super Bowl, although Barrett Robbins wasn't there, but it was Barrett Robbins at center. It was Frank Middleton. It was, I think, Adam True, Mo Collins, and Lincoln Kennedy.
But like, I think the part of his offensive line stats are harder and maybe a little more subjective, but still, there should be more offensive line and defensive interior line, because edge rushers get all the glory, and linebackers. But like, there's a lot of really good interior guys that should be in. The Hall of Fame is just jacked. It is jacked. And the sad thing is like, like I said, there's no way it should take Devin Hester more than one vote to get in. There's no way it should take Bill Belichick more than one vote to get in. There's no way a guy like Peanut Tillman is not even considered when he revolutionized the game. You change the position group forever for the way defense is played like that. I'm sorry, you that's Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, it just is. And his other numbers support it. I mean, Greg Olson's another guy at tight end who probably had a good enough career to get in. He's in the top 10 all time.
I was gonna say he's a damn good tight end, but I think he's a guy that's borderline Hall of Fame.
Witten never won a ring either, but he's gonna get in.
Yeah, but Witten's got crazy numbers. Well, and he has crazy numbers.
Yeah,
Witten played long enough to get the numbers.
Well, I mean, everyone remembers one thing of Witten: the play where his helmet got knocked off and he's still running for the touchdown. And that's why so many of us like him, because the dude was just a hard-nosed player. He had grit. People loved it.
So, on a different note, this coaching search, and like, there's 3 teams left, and like nobody's hiring. Like, here we are. It's Thursday, and we thought by the end of the week that at least one of these teams would have hired a coach by now. So it leads me to the question: like, are they all waiting on Clint Kubiak? Like,
Very well could be. And then that makes you also wonder, what do they think about these other candidates that they're not just saying, all right, you know what, enough of the wait and let's just pull the trigger on this guy.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
Sean McDermott is out there.
yeah.
Well, supposedly, I heard that McDermott wants to take a year away from football.
I heard that too, but I think if he was offered a job, he might consider. I mean, depending on the job, he would consider it for sure. And then, but like for example, the Raiders this week, they had Davis Webb in for a second interview the other night in Vegas. Yeah, but they're still waiting. They're having Clint Kubiak is coming in this
So let me
weekend
see
for an
who's all
interview.
waiting. The Raiders.
The Cardinals.
Who's the third team? Because Buffalo promoted, right? They
Mm.
promoted a guy, and then Pittsburgh got lazy
McCarthy.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
Halfley went to Miami.
Yep.
Who went to the Browns?
Oh, what the hell's his freaking name?
Munkin.
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say I was drawing a hard blank there.
Who went to Tennessee?
Trying to remember who went to Tennessee. I know Dable's their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, no. Tennessee got their guy. So we got the Raiders, the Cardinals, and who's the third team without a head coach right now?
Salah's at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, Salah's the head coach at Tennessee.
Yeah, he went to Tennessee.
Ooh.
Who did Baltimore hire again? Baltimore, maybe they're looking for the coach. Maybe it was
No,
Baltimore.
I think Baltimore is the one looking for a coach still.
Yeah, that's weird.
No. They hired Jesse Minter.
Oh, Jesse Minter, that's right.
Yep. The Chargers DC.
Yeah, so who's the other team that's looking for a head coach right now? There's 3 teams.
All right, JB says only the Cardinals and Raiders. That's what I thought.
Oh.
So Kubiak goes to one of them, and who's the loser get? Matt Nagy.
Oh.
Matt Nagy's jobless now
I can believe that.
because remember, he wanted to go pursue a head coaching gig, so he left KC, and then KC brought in my running back coach, Eric Bieniemy. So interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised the Raiders haven't gotten their coach yet.
Oh my god. It's kind of starting to look like Arizona might be taking LaFleur's brother. Mike LaFleur, since he's been the offensive coordinator for the Rams there, he just got a second interview with the Cardinals. And the Dolphins DC, Anthony Weaver, has got a second interview with them. So it's kind of seeming like, at least as of right now, it's down to those two.
Yeah, I'm sorry, JB. I wasn't on last night. We had some personal business here we were attending to. So I that precluded me from being able to be on your show last night. I set it up for you, as you saw, for Rumble, but I just wasn't able to be on because of some we had some personal business we had to take care of. Actually, we got an offer on our house, so that's what we were going over yesterday. So
I also think
we've been trying to sell for the last 7-8 months. So we got the offer. We're going over the numbers and everything. So that precluded me from being on the show. I'm sorry, JB.
I also think the Raiders are. I think it's between Davis Webb and Kubiak. Like the fact that Davis Webb is still in the mix, like, is interesting to me with his lack of coaching experience. But I honestly, I'm kind of rooting for the guy.
Sometimes that lack of coaching experience is actually a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's where I was going with that is like on the Raiders subreddit, everybody wants Kubiak, right? They want the proven commodity because he has the coordinator experience. But I'm one of the very few who's like, let's give Davis Webb a shot, man, because the things that I've read about this guy, like Albert Breer, he's a writer, a sports writer for Sports Illustrated, just did an article on January 19th where he spoke to several insiders about Davis Webb, and one of the biggest takeaways was that there was a consensus that Davis Webb is an elite communicator that has the ability to take complex offensive concepts and break them down into actionable thing, like break it down into easy actionable things for quarterbacks and for other players. Like, I think that's exactly what Mendoza needs, dude, to be able to take complex NFL concepts and break them down and make them like actionable for a rookie quarterback. I feel like he's the best candidate for developing Mendoza. See, now I'm not. Other Raider fans are looking at, well, with Kubiak, like we might have a chance to like get, be in the playoffs, not this year but next year or whatever, right? I'm looking at it differently. For me, the most important thing that we should be able to get out of this next head coach is to develop Mendoza, because Mendoza is going to be there after the coach is gone.
Let me shift topics a little bit. I'm sorry, from head coaches to players, because we are finally starting to get some player news in all of this. And I think the Raiders and Cardinals, it's one of them's going to get Kubiak and the other is going to have to get someone else, right? So I think that's where we're going. I mean, I think with the Raiders, we're not going to get anything this week. In fact, I maybe the next 2 weeks. We're just going to do a lot of wheel spin. If it's this young guy, then we'll have to deep dive who his coaching staff is going to be because of Joe's concerns, which are totally 100% valid. That I'm with. Like, if you're going to get a quarterback, you have to have a young quarterback whisperer, right? But there is news, guys, on players, and some of it from the NFC North. I'm going to start with that. One that didn't get much press everywhere else. We didn't talk about it. Packers have a lot of news lately. Jesus, the Packers have a lot of news. Rasheed Walker arrested on a gun charge last week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you almost go, oh my God, NFL guys, really? Now, here's the thing that I don't get. I don't think it's going to affect him. Well, it could affect him. It's 2 counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon and criminal possession of a firearm. Now, here's the thing, though. He legally owns a firearm in Wisconsin. The dude just made a bonehead mistake. He had it in a gun box in his luggage going to New York, which is probably the worst place you could ever fly.
There you go, because in New York State, it is supposed to be a guaranteed 2 to 3 years minimum for having an unregistered gun with New York State. That means you can have it perfectly legal in another state. You so much is cross 2 foot over that state line, and they will stick it up your ass.
And here's the thing: like, Walker was the guy. He disclosed it to. He was the one who disclosed the contents of the luggage of it, and that's what led to his arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's going to be interesting. They think, his lawyer thinks the case will be dismissed. I don't know, but that's interesting. But here's the other thing. So we heard a little bit about the Romeo Doubs piece, and Dobbs has been like, first off, you can't miss his helmet, but the dude, even with that big ass helmet, the dude's been Mr. Consistent for them. But it's interesting because Ken, from what I'm hearing or reading, it sounds like it doesn't sound like. Yeah,
he's gone. Oh, he's absolutely gone. Because the problem with Dobbs is he's very up and down. When he's on, he is damn good. But when he's off, he's got hands of stone and couldn't catch a little lollipop thrown to him. And I think that's what it is Green Bay doesn't want to commit that second contract money to a wide receiver that's up and down.
He's their most consistent guy, though. That's the thing. And then to add injury to insult, Zach Tom looks like he's going to have surgery now on a partially torn patellar tendon. And whenever he has that surgery, they need to get him in there because it's about a 6-month recovery time. So right now he's okay. If he has it now, he'll be back by camp. But they got to hurry up on that, right? And then Devontae Wyatt, right? He might be back in time for camp, but man, that was a broken fibula and a torn ligament in his ankle.
No. He's going to be back for camp from everything that I'm hearing. Parsons it looks like he's going to have a chance to start the season. He won't be ready for camp, but to start the season. And if he doesn't, we're looking at maybe 1 to 3 weeks.
And now for some Bears news, and there actually is some Bears news. Kevin Byard, because all our safeties are uncontracted right now. But he's been like, look at it, he wants to come back to Chicago, right? I don't, he's in his 30s, but man, the dude is still, obviously he led the league in interceptions. He's producing. I think the Bears bring him back. I think it's mutual. But that little news happened there, player wise. It's funny because that's really the only player news I'm really seeing, because everything else is,
CJ
the Cardinals
Gardner,
want Clint Kubiak, the Raiders want Clint Kubiak. You've seen all the coaching movement. That's the only player news that I have seen.
CJ Gardner Johnson had put out a post pretty much saying that he's not going to be back with the Bears, that he's going to go and test free agency again. Yeah, I don't remember exactly word for word. I'm massively paraphrasing here, but that was the relative gist of it.
I would love to see CJ Gardner Johnson back, but I don't blame him for testing free agency, but I get it, because he knows 0-2 in Chicago, he's not going to be the starter probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're fighting with a guy who's a fan favorite starter, and if he's healthy, that guy is going to be the starter. So I get CJ Gardner Johnson, but I think Byard and Brisker come back. But I like to say we're starting to see some player news. That's not just all these coaches. I mean, the coaching thing is great. I love it too. But I love to see some of the player news on, I'm waiting for well, I mean, dude, if you're chasing a ring, then he should stay in Chicago, man. I mean, but the starter piece is more of the thing. He wants to be a starter chasing a ring. He just he wants to be a backup or in a rotation. He wants to be the guy. Because Gardner Johnson, if he's chasing a ring, Chicago's a place right now you would stay, because that's an ascending team, right? And he could be a big piece of that. And he knows he could. The narrative has changed, guys. Players are going to want to come to Chicago because they're ascending, right? I mean, the NFC North in general. Let me just put it that way. So, I mean, Gardner Johnson, if you're chasing a ring, Chicago is the place to go do it right now. But, you're not going to be the starter because you got Kyler Gordon there.
But so, there's other places that he could probably go where he could be a starter. I can think of one off the top of my head, San Francisco. They're also contenders, and their defense is depleted, but they'll get Fred Warner and Bosa back next year. Like, he could go there and potentially start. So that would be.
I agree with you 100%, Joe. That's the thing. Now look, at the Bears give him a fair contract offer, he might stay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but they gotta get Brisker and Byard signed and some other things done too. So, so he even knows that even the Bears situation. Like, when it comes defensively, of guys that need to be resigned, he's not number one in that pecking order. And you want to be number one. I mean, he's like number 3 in that pecking order, because they got to resign at least 2 of their safeties before they even think about resigning a nickel corner who's not even number 1 on the depth chart for them. I love what Gardner Johnson did for the Bears this year. He made an impact when Gordon was out. But I don't know. But here's the thing, though. Is Gardner Johnson going to get starting money from someone outside of the 49ers? I don't know. Would I be surprised if he comes back? No. Would I be surprised if he leaves? No. But I think we should start seeing, I guess at this point they'd be considered extensions because the league year is not done. So I think we might start seeing a couple of those this week, next week.
The big one I'm wondering about is Tyler Linderbaum. I'm wondering if the Ravens are going to be able to somehow get his cap number under their cap, like to sign him to a long-term extension. Because I'm really hoping he hits free agency. Because if he does, man, if I'm the Raiders, I'm backing up the Brinks truck, bro. Like, what is it that you want? You want $25 million? No problem, dude. No problem.
Right now, if we look at free agency, we got a few minutes. Oh, you gotta be a subscriber now to see their free agent list? Are you kidding me?
Everything's
I
a
didn't even know you
paywall
could
now.
subscribe to Over the Cap. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. No. Let's get out of there. All of a sudden, a bunch of weird pop-ups happen. Oof. Here we just go as we start to look at the free agent list. There we go. That's what I want. So top free agents, real quick. George Pickens, Daniel Jones, Tyler Lindenbaum, and Brees Hall are some of the big ones there. Brees Hall should be interesting. Actually, Lindenbaum, man, for the Ravens, you're right. I can see why you'd want him. I can see why a lot of people.
I was gonna say, shit, I'd want him.
He's gonna be one of the top free agents this year, but that's where the pocketbook comes in. The Raiders have money to spend, dude. Like, and it's not 50 million; it's like 110 million. So they can pretty much write him a blank check if he wants. Like, you tell us what you want. You want to reset the market, no problem. And I think the Raiders will do it.
Why
and they
is
would be
it
smart to do it.
Why is it that every year? Why is it that every year Tampa Bay has a receiver? Mike Evans is a free agent this year again. Why is it every year it's like Tampa Bay? It's like Godwin or Evans seems to be a free agent. It doesn't seem like we're having this discussion about them every year. Evans is
Because they sign him to short-term extensions.
Yep.
They keep signing him to
Yeah.
2-year extensions where 1 year's void, pretty much. Like, I honestly think Mike Evans might test free agency this year.
That would be a hell of a change.
I don't see him leaving Tampa, dude. I don't think he cares about the money anymore. He just wants to be in Tampa, to be honest. But let me run you guys down the list of some of the free agents this year. Trey Hendrickson, free agent. Mike Evans, Trevon Diggs, Christian Kirk, again, after that massive deal he got, remember, with Houston, is now going to be a free agent. Khalil Mack at 35 years old. Debo Samuel. Geez, you're going to have Debo and Ayuk are both on the market. Braden Smith, a right tackle. Travis Kelce, of course. Josh Williams. Joel Bitano, a guard. There's some good offensive linemen out here. Kyle Duggar, Wyatt Teller, Daniel Jones, Hassan Reddick, David Njoku, Aaron Rodgers, of course, Jamal Dean, Joey Bosa, Cam Robinson. I mean, there's some good names on this list. DJ Reader, Malcolm Kuntz, Leonard Floyd, Russell Wilson, Tutu Atwell, Tyson Hill, Kevin Zittler. I mean, there's Adam Thielen. He's going to retire. Tyler Higbee, Kyle Pitts, Marcus Mariota, Kenneth Murray. I mean, Kevin Byard. There's some good names on this list this year, and I barely touched it.
I don't think that there's any way Kyle Pitts sees free agency. I think that Atlanta will make him a deal.
He might make it out of freaking Atlanta there just so he can finally get used. Granted, I know he got a little bit more use last year, but it still pales in comparison to how he should be.
For how hyped he was as a prospect, I could agree with you, Ken. Like, he might want to go somewhere where he can be the guy, And there's a lot of teams that would probably kick the tires, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's got insane athletic ability.
If Kelce retires, hey,
Kansas City? Yeah, Kyle. Oh, don't tell me that. Kyle Pitts to Kansas City. Oh no.
Patrick Mahomes.
You got Patrick Mahomes slinging him the rock now, dude. Fit the man for a jacket. Like, yeah, we don't need that.
Because Ken needs a wide receiver. Of course, the wide receiving class right now is Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Debo,
George Pickens,
Atwell, Dane Brown.
I was gonna say I'd take Pickens. Anybody else? Fuck it.
Dude,
I think Mike Evans would be really good for you too.
Hollywood Brown's going to be a free agent if he doesn't re-sign with Kansas City. DeAndre Hopkins.
Mike Evans. Yeah, Mike Evans I would like, but I don't know if he's going to be there for more than a year.
Yeah, but you're in a Super Bowl window right now.
Yeah.
You got a point there. And then it might not be bad having a Mike Evans on the team. You might have somebody that can actually teach these wide receivers how to consistently catch. So I think you talked me into it, Joe.
I mean, if I was the Packers, I would make Pickens an offer at least.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Offensive lineman, man, dude, this is a good year. You got Braden Smith from Indianapolis, right tackle. Jonah Williams from Arizona. You got a couple good guards. You got guards. God, this is actually a good class. Like, we'll see how many of these guys hit the free agent market. But if you're a team looking to rebuild your offensive line and you have money, hi Vegas.
You're talking to
you
me.
can get a hold
Like,
of
if I'm the Raiders, I'm going offensive line shopping, dude. That's what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna go get me a guard and a tackle and maybe a center.
Hey,
I mean, think about the Bears this year. Our offensive line, we went from like one of the worst in the league to one of the best in the league, and 4 of the starters were new.
I don't think the Raiders need 4 new starters, but they do need at least they need 2 new starters, and they need some depth. So I would definitely go after Linderbaum. I would go after a tackle. Jermaine Illuminor is also on that free agent list. He's a free agent from the Giants, and he's a former Raider. I would actually talk to Jermaine and be like, hey, you want to come back? And then I would get a guard for depth.
Well, opening day, we only had 3 new starters, right? And of course, remember, we made the trade for our right guard, our left guard, and signed the center. And then we had our same starting tackles, but then we replaced our left tackle, with a second-year guy, and then replaced him with a rookie, and it worked out great for the Bears. So, but the Bears showed you like what you could do in Vegas. A team that's going to have a ton of money, like they could go out and buy an offensive line, and there are a lot of teams that need an offensive line this year. Hello, Cincinnati, if you have some money left somewhere. Hello, Green Bay, you could use some offensive line guys.
Shit,
Detroit.
With JB's comment here, as a guard, absolutely. I would pay you money to take Sean Ryan as a guard. As a center, I actually didn't mind him as a center. Now, granted, I'd love to upgrade at center if we can, but if I got to, I'd honestly take Sean Ryan over Jenkins at center.
The Chargers are going to be shopping for an offensive line. I mean, there are a lot of teams that need offensive line help. Oh, the Chargers definitely need offensive line help, man.
I was going to say they just had injury issues.
Yeah, but they still need help beyond just those 2 guys coming back. The Chargers are going to be shopping. I don't know how serious they're at least be buying. At minimum, they're buying some backups.
Okay, I was going to say for backup market, I could see that, but I didn't think their line even did too bad with missing both their starting tackles.
But there are a couple teams that are definitely be shopping for offensive line. So, like, I can't wait. I hope we start seeing some re-signings coming into the weekend and into Super Bowl week. Yeah, Joe Alt and Slater will be back. Will be back. But I mean, they need more help there. They need more help there because at least in the backup market, if not another starter, I wouldn't hurt them to add another quality starter either. Right. So, I mean, but there's a lot of teams that will be shopping for offensive line help. Luckily this year, my Bears aren't one of them.
If I was the Raiders, I might seriously consider, like, depending on what he wants, I might consider offering Khalil Mack a 1-year, maybe 2-year deal to come and pair with Max Crosby.
For his yeah, I mean, I think the Chargers, I think he likes it there. I think, like, because Keenan Allen is a free agent too. And with both those guys, man, with Keenan Allen and Khalil Mack, if you're the Chargers, man, it's like part of it pulls your heartstrings because they've been such good players for you. But the other part is like, okay, these guys got to retire soon, right? I don't know. Do they maybe get another year out of Keenan Allen and Khalil Mack? Maybe. I think Khalil Mack's got another year or 2 in the motor.
Or maybe Khalil Mack wants to retire a Raider.
He spent most of his time with the Chargers at this point.
He spent 4 years with the Raiders. How many years with the Bears?
3.
3 or 4.
3 or
And
4.
now he's been like 4 years with the Chargers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would at least present the offer to him, like, hey, you want to retire a Raider? Like, you got a chance.
I mean, with him and Max Crosby would be. Yeah.
We're
It
out of
is
time.
that time though.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. JB's up next. Have a good day, everyone.